Rochester, New York, there's a couple local publishers, even some nonprofit and not-for-profit publishing organizations there, which we're hoping to build at least a working relationship that can prove and vet this idea before we move into it. As far as the readers, we talked about students, talked about finding more of the A-type readers, which is, of course, presents some difficulties and some challenges for us. And also, we've reached out and we're exploring working with some of the large data providers. I think it's Bowker, I'm not sure how to say it, but that organization that runs the database of ISBN numbers and book information, and trying to work with them to see if there's any business opportunities for us.
Yeah, the one thing we noticed and we feel we may have an offering that would be interested is they track all metrics on books, you know, ebooks, how many e-readers are sold, anything that has to do with publishing books, and they distribute out those to the publishers. But we noticed the one thing they don't track is errors, number of errors. So for whatever reason, you know, they may not care or whatever. But we thought maybe, hey, this is another service that you may be interested in. We can use them as the channel to get the attention of these publishers because they have that established clout.
That is very interesting. They're not tracking that.
Yeah, we check their services and all their different businesses, and we don't see anything on error tracking.
Then as far as enhancing the experience, we've covered a lot of this, developing websites, developing new modules for the users, mobile applications, phone-based, smartphone-based, integrating with e-readers, and even doing like web browser plugins to make it easier to submit typos. And then also working on publisher or industry portals. And I'll just try to hit on this. So this is really like a concept that we've had that we're exploring. And we're looking at it as a way that we can provide a service to the publishing industry. And so we could take all this information that we collect and organize it and deliver it in a way that's useful to somebody in the industry. And that could be, you know, the tracking of the typo and the workflow of that. So somebody finds it, we give it over to the publisher, they work on it. They can, if they're going to implement a change on that, they can let us know. We can attribute that back to the user. This also could be an opportunity to minimize costs. So some publishing houses might already have this capability, but we have a structure already in place that we're able to spread the cost across many different industry users and many different people, which helps with staffing that. And also, all the statistics that we have could be relevant not only to publishers, but maybe also to authors. Reader demographics, who's reading the book. Not just who's buying the book. Amazon will tell you who's buying the book. But when that book goes from one person as a gift to another person, you don't really know, Amazon doesn't know who's reading the book. With something like this, we can collect demographics on who's reading it, what type of users reading it.
And who's reading it carefully.
And who's reading it carefully, absolutely. Yeah. And then also, I mean, this is the big Amazon online shopping experience, right? We know that you've read these books. We think you might be interested in this other book because it's similar to the stuff that you like to read.
It has even more errors.
That's right, that's right. Or even, right, we can use it as an opportunity to say, well, here's an author, here's a book that I'm working on. I want to make sure that somebody reads this thoroughly first. It's almost like inside the crowd, there's the copy editors living in the crowd. This is me just looking for it. These are editors and proofreaders that live within the crowd of the community. And we create a venue in which authors can access all of these type A proofreaders or industry proofreaders. And then, of course, there are some marketing opportunities for authors and publishers. They'll have access to the audience that read their books carefully also. And we can really narrow down to the individual level on the information that we're presenting or offering to potential customers. Yes?
Since publishing is already a done deal when something is published, how would you manage to access the publisher or the author before a work is published?
Yeah, so,
You know, it's
Yep.
like making sure that the horse isn't out of the barn. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a tough deal. Do you have any ideas there?
absolutely. We've had some ideas. I mean, we haven't worked this through the industry yet. One of the ideas we had was using it as a promotional effort, a marketing effort, right? So we have users that really like to read. And we could
Oh.
say to the publisher, hey, look, if you pre-release some material to us, maybe before it's been finalized,
Fabulous.
we could use that, feed it to our really high contributors,
Yep.
and get feedback on error correction, right? In exchange for getting a pre-release, you need to find all the typos you can, and feed that back.
We did that to a very small degree so far. Last year, after the show, Daniel Hunt had asked me if one of our users could take a look at the website, and she spent a couple of days reviewing everything and called out every minor little typo on the ACES website. So we do have a community that is interested in doing these sorts of things.
That's
Yes?
The number of publishers already send out what are called ARCs or advanced reader copies. So I'm wondering if there might be a way to use that with the typos community to help find those typos before these actually come through. So an ARC is, it's typeset, it's bound, kind of bound, but it's pretty much uncorrect. So that is.
That's interesting, yeah. We'll take note of that. Thank you. So I think just in the interest of time, we'll kind of flow through this. Oh, actually, I did want to hit this one, right? So somebody had talked about this a little bit. So right now, you know, the authors aren't involved much, and we'd like to get them more involved. And one of our theories is that if the author gets more involved in contributing back to their readers, then the readers become, they're somewhat of a value to the reader in interacting directly with an author, and you know, the ultimate goal is, well, maybe they buy more books.
Authors, you know, there are now, for some books, websites that are created in conjunction with the release of the book. So if you are able to get into that, you know, make some sort of connection there, I would think there could be some cross-pollination. But the other thing is, there's so much self-publishing, or so many self-publishing opportunities now that maybe that's a place to explore, to be able to have contact with authors.
That's a very good
Because,
idea.
you know, they're having to provide more of what the publishing house used to provide itself, or having to pay, they have to pay the copy editor rather than having the publisher pay, you know, pay you for the book, and then the copy editing and proofreading is all the publisher's expense. I have a friend who self-published a children's book, and it was, you know, a discussion of, do I get my own copy editor? Me? Or do I pay for this service? It's like, no, you pay for this service, because you're not gonna pay me. So it seems that you're coming into this at a very good time to have contact with authors, I would think. And if you build the relationship with the self-publishers, when those self-publishers finally get the attention of a real publisher, you can sort of come along with them.
Thank you.
Good suggestion.
So I think, I mean, we're kind of running out of time here. We're keeping you late already. I'll just pass it back to John for some closing thoughts and remarks.
Yeah, just real quick, just some interesting and unexpected discoveries along this route. You know, we realized that there are a lot of typos. They're everywhere. At first we were worried we'd launch the site and no one would come to it or submit anything. We thought maybe it's just us who were finding these things, but we found that they are out there. People that enjoy finding typos are out there. And real quick, on Twitter, it's apparent. We had some retweets and some thank yous from people. I think a few folks from ACES, and one in particular, if you look at or pull it down, it made me want to go back and find every typo I've ever found in any book I've ever read. And she's actually doing that. So we're seeing that come in. She's always there. So, so it's positive. And here's actually the great typo hunt, thanking our user for finding errors in his work. So that's a confirmation, and we'll take that as a success that that's going to be fixed because of what our user did. So back to the other slide, and then I'll just wrap it up.